Chainlink price update for Tuesday, August 26th. We're on the 4-hour chart. We're going to start off on the short time frame where we need to focus on the immediate future today and tomorrow. And then we'll zoom out to the little bit higher time frame and look at what we need to be looking at and watching for come the weekly close, wrapping up the week, and all that good stuff. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you want more help navigating this cycle, consider subscribing through our Patreon group. You get access to requests, a lot more educational content, and a lot more videos. So let's link below. 4-hour chart. We've broken our low here. So this is the immediate elephant in the room. We have to recover this low. And you can see as of right now, we're holding as resistance. So we got to get back above all these moving averages. Really, $25 would do it. If we look at the parabolic SAR, you can see our uptrend triggers kind of right there. So we want to be watching for that. If we look at the Gaussian channel, we've fallen underneath here. So by definition, we're a little bit weaker. $25 cancels all that. So for the bulls, right, it's 25, right? We got to do that. Sometime over the next 24 hours between the next time you watch one of these videos, we're doing daily updates for Chainlink if you haven't caught on to that yet. So resistance zone is kind of where we are. We're at the underside retest of the previous low we lost. This will be resistance until proven otherwise. Again, that's around $25. We can just make it nice and easy there. Okay, so having said that, if we continue to reject here and go down, well, we're looking at in bear flag formation here, right? Our next target would be our major moving average of the 200 here, sometime between now and maybe towards the end of the week. You can see that just south of $22, right? So the 200, the 2166, and still slightly rising. And the good sign of that is not only is it a major moving average, but it also encompasses our kind of our low support zone here, where we have our initial low red candles, right? Low closes here where we held the 21 EMA, came back up, another higher close. But we were more bullish there, right? By definition, that's why we have the Gaussian channel on, right? You can tell immediately, are you a little bit weaker, right? Have you been hitting the gym lately? No, we have not. So we looked at this also last week. If you've been watching all these videos, we pointed out on a couple occasions how this trend was weakening and the big bulls needed to step in, right? You can see we tried there and then roll over again, and then we just took it out really over the past day or two, right? We kind of swept these lows. So now we're on defense versus we were playing on offense, and things have changed a little bit. So we need to be focusing on where our support is. Even though we always want up only mode, right? We need to be aware of the down mode, and that's kind of where we're in. So low target now. Really, we got to hold this around 2150 to 21. That would be ideal. And we're only on the 4-hour chart. But we want to be watching for that. Again, if we're back above 25, hey, back on uptrend intact, and this was just a fake out. Okay, time will tell. So let's zoom out to the daily. And now we're at a pretty key moving average, right? We're at the 21 EMA. So we could easily hold here. But if we don't, again, that's a sign of more weakness. And we would want to note that. If we start to flip that to resistance, and you break the 21 EMA, you just need a little bit more time. Doesn't necessarily mean you gotta, abandon ship, right? You see these Bollinger Bands closing up, lower volatility, right? So if we can use our imagination here, if this continues, right, we might see something like this where we just kind of chop around here for a little bit and then kind of make our move back higher or lower, right? As these compress here. Usually once the bands compress, the bigger move is coming. So we'll see how, obviously, Bitcoin reacts. Bitcoin's at 110. Loosely, it's approaching its 21 week. Bitcoin as well is around 107, 108. So if we tag that and Chainlink can kind of do its best to hold here, then great. This could be the lows. If we slip and start to close, multiple days, by the end of this week, we'll know. If we close under the 21 EMA, around $23, then we do have our lows here, but more or less likely you're going to retest your previous high where you started to make your breakout move, right? And that was kind of down here. So now we've got to grab these lows, and you could flip our highs to lows, right? That's kind of our new zone. Our Gaussian channel will likely be right in that area. And what else do we see is there? The elusive $20 mark for Chainlink, right? That's seemingly been around for Chainlink's entire history for a lot of people, right? If you bought Chainlink under 20, you're rarely complaining. But $20 seems like the price if we move down and start to get a little bit more weak. If we lose some momentum, it's not all bad, right? We're still in an uptrend here, right? Sometimes you gotta look at the silver lining here, right? If we're just kind of following the ebbs and flows, like who cares? Right? We don't want to continue to melt faces. I know you all think you want that, but this would be unsustainable, right? We wouldn't be able to make it to, all-time highs if we just did one of these numbers. This would be like the peak. So this is actually what we ideally want, right? You want these these breaks, take breaths. Grammar's hard. Something like this, loosely followed, is what we need to, reach infinity and beyond, right? Okay, if we want a flannel blue moon, remain healthy. The macro is still a-okay. Gaussian channel is way the hell down there. The weekly Gaussian channel, we're well above that, bullish. We're above the EMA 8 on the weekly, bullish. That's at 21. Again, this should likely hold. In worst case, the 21 EMA down here. But that's rising. Give it a couple weeks, it'll be at 20. Above previous highs. And again, like no big deal. We're expecting something around $20, right? If we've looked at this, if you've watched any of these videos, we're looking at this big W pattern. So we were actually due to kind of hold right in this area and dip down here and mirror this, right? You're going to mirror. We've so far mirrored very perfectly, right? On this climbing up. So we've said all week, past many videos, we probably hesitate here more likely than not. Come back down, rebuild, get another breath of strength, revisit $20, and then nuke time, back to the high side. Q4 is going to be bonkers. We've made a hell of a move, right? Don't be the guy that's so greedy and ask why Chainlink's never doing anything when in the past 2 months we've gone up 150%, right? Don't do it. Up 150%, and then let's take a breath, 20-30% down. Typical end of cycle volatility, and then another 200% nuke higher. What's wrong with that? Nothing. All right, we're doing just fine. No big deal. We'll continue to do daily updates. Make sure you're subscribed, damn it. Quote and card of the day incoming. The best way out is always through, unless it's jellyfish. Don't go through that. All right, car of the day, 2015 Ferrari California T Roadster. Maybe a great starter Ferrari. Look at the price. Not bad. You can buy your first supercar. This might be on the menu. Pretty good. A Ferrari for around 150K is pretty sweet. But if you're buying a used Ferrari, you better have your maintenance wallet out. A little bit pricey to maintain. The white on black looks pretty good. I like the color combo. And I love that they did away with the soft tops. They had so many problems back in the day, early 2000s. The canvas tops, much better move to make them all hard tops. Look how young they are. They definitely got to own some crypto. You see young people shopping for supercars, it's no longer they're too young to have money. Sometimes the younger people got more money than the older people at this point. Right? The old biases no longer work. Pretty cool interior. For 10 years old, that's still looks pretty modern to me. 4-seater. Take your kids or your dogs or just your stack of flannel shirts. Either one. Pretty sweet. Who's not driving in sport mode? It should just stay there, right? No switches. We're not buying Ferraris for eco mode. Shut up. Why is it even an option? Comfort mode. Yeah, eco mode. Never. I want neck-breaking jerks. If your passengers aren't begging to be let out, you're doing it wrong. All right. Gonna end it on there. There's too many damn pictures. Love the paddles. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Chainlink Ferrari out.